Right now, as you watch this video, you believe you are you. You feel the weight of your thoughts, the continuity of your memories, the solid presence of your identity. But what if I told you that the very thing you're trying to escape from, yourself, is nothing more than an elaborate illusion? What if the prison you feel trapped in has no walls, no bars, no door, because there is no prisoner? In the next minutes, we're going to dismantle everything you think you know about the nature of selfhood. We'll journey through ancient wisdom and cutting-edge neuroscience to uncover a truth so profound it might just shatter your entire worldview. But here's the paradox. Once you understand why you don't exist, you'll finally understand why you can't escape yourself. Stay with me. This isn't just philosophy, it's a revelation that could change how you experience reality itself. Welcome back to the channel where we explore the deepest questions of existence. Today we're tackling perhaps the most fundamental puzzle of human consciousness: the nature of the self. Throughout history, humans have sought to escape themselves through countless means: travel, substances, relationships, spiritual practices, even extreme experiences. Yet no matter how far we run, we always find ourselves right back where we started, trapped with our own thoughts, our own emotions, our own seemingly inescapable identity. But what if this entire struggle is based on a fundamental misunderstanding? What if the self we're trying to escape is like a shadow we're chasing, always just out of reach because it was never really there to begin with? This isn't merely an abstract philosophical exercise. Understanding the illusory nature of the self has profound implications for how we live, how we suffer, and how we might find genuine freedom. So let's begin this journey into the heart of consciousness itself. Picture this. Every morning you wake up and immediately know you're you. Your name, your history, your preferences, your fears. They all seem to coalesce into this coherent sense of being a continuous, unified person. This feeling is so convincing that questioning it seems absurd. Yet this very conviction might be the greatest magic trick your brain has ever performed. Consider how you experience yourself throughout a single day. In the morning, you might feel energetic and optimistic. By afternoon, perhaps tired and irritable. In the evening, reflective and calm. Which one is the real you? The angry person in traffic or the loving parent at bedtime? The confident professional in meetings or the anxious individual lying awake at night? We tell ourselves these are all facets of the same person, but examine this claim more closely. Where exactly is this unchanging core that connects all these different experiences? When you look for it, really look, what do you find? The ancient Buddhist texts speak of this as the fundamental delusion of selfhood. The Buddha described the self as being like a chariot. When you take apart all the components, the wheels, the frame, the axles, where is the chariot? It exists only as a concept, a convenient label we place on a collection of parts. Similarly, when we examine the components of selfhood, thoughts, emotions, sensations, memories, we find no central controller, no essential core. But this isn't just ancient wisdom. Modern neuroscience is revealing the same truth through a different lens. The brain doesn't generate a unified self. It creates the illusion of one. In the 1960s, researchers began studying patients whose corpus callosum, the bridge connecting the brain's two hemispheres, had been severed to treat severe epilepsy. These split-brain patients revealed something extraordinary about the nature of consciousness. When information was presented to only one hemisphere, the patients would sometimes perform actions they couldn't explain, as if different parts of their brain were operating independently. Even more fascinating, The verbal left hemisphere would create explanations for actions initiated by the non-verbal right hemisphere, essentially making up stories to maintain the illusion of a unified self. The brain, it seems, is a master storyteller, constantly weaving together disparate experiences into a coherent narrative of selfhood. Neuroimaging studies have shown that there's no central location in the brain where the self resides. Instead, what we call the self emerges from the activity of multiple neural networks working in concert. The default mode network creates the sense of continuity and narrative. The salience network determines what deserves attention. Various memory systems contribute to the feeling of personal history. But here's the crucial insight. These networks don't create an actual self. They create the experience of being a self. It's the difference between a movie and the screen it's projected on. The self is like the movie, a dynamic, ever-changing pattern of activity. But we mistake this pattern for something solid and permanent. Recent research on psychedelics has provided even more compelling evidence. When substances like psilocybin or LSD disrupt the default mode network, people often report the dissolution of the sense of self. They describe feeling at one with the universe, experiencing reality without the filter of individual identity. These aren't hallucinations, they're glimpses of consciousness without the overlay of selfhood. What's remarkable is that many describe these experiences as more real than ordinary consciousness, as if the self were a kind of interference pattern that normally obscures the true nature of awareness. To understand why the self is illusory, we need to examine the nature of consciousness itself. William James, the father of American psychology, famously described consciousness as a stream, a continuous flow of experiences, thoughts, and sensations. But even this metaphor might be misleading because it implies something that flows. What if consciousness is more like a river? From a distance, a river appears to be a continuous flowing entity. But look closer and you'll see it's nothing but water molecules in constant motion. There's no river apart from the water. There's no water apart from the H2O molecules. The river is a process, not a thing. Similarly, consciousness might be better understood as a process rather than a thing that has experiences. Thoughts arise and pass away. Sensations come and go. Emotions emerge and dissolve. But where is the experiencer of these experiences? When you look for the one who is aware, you find only awareness itself. This is why meditation traditions often speak of watching the watcher. When you turn attention back on itself, trying to find the observer, you discover something profound. There's no one there. There's just the process of awareness, moment by moment, without a central controller. The Zen master Huang Po expressed this beautifully. The foolish reject what they see, not what they think. The wise reject what they think, not what they see. We see the process of consciousness, but we think there must be someone having the experience. This insight has profound implications for how we understand suffering. If there's no solid self to be threatened, what exactly is it that suffers? If there's no permanent identity to protect, what are we defending? The very foundation of our psychological struggles begins to crumble when we see through the illusion of selfhood. Now we come to the heart of our paradox. If the self is illusory, why can't we escape it? Why does the feeling of being a separate, continuous person persist so strongly, even when we intellectually understand its illusory nature? The answer lies in the very nature of how consciousness operates. The brain evolved to create the experience of being a unified agent in the world. This wasn't a mistake. It was crucial for survival. A creature that could model itself as a continuous entity, plan for the future, and learn from the past had enormous advantages over one that couldn't. But evolution didn't design us to be happy or enlightened. It designed us to survive and reproduce. The self-model that served our ancestors so well in navigating a dangerous world now often becomes a source of suffering in our modern context. Here's the deeper paradox. The very attempt to escape the self reinforces its apparent reality. Who is trying to escape? The self? What is being escaped from? The self. It's like trying to run away from your own shadow. The faster you run, the more convinced you become that the shadow is real and threatening. This is why so many spiritual seeking ends in frustration. The seeker is seeking to end seeking, but the very act of seeking reinforces the reality of the seeker. It's like trying to calm water by smoothing it with your hand. The action creates the very disturbance you're trying to eliminate. The mystics understood this paradox. They spoke of surrender, of letting go, of stopping the surge. But even these instructions can become another form of seeking. The Sufi poet Rumi captured this beautifully. What you seek is seeking you. So how do we resolve this paradox? How do we escape what doesn't exist? The answer is both simple and profound. We stop trying to escape. The prison of selfhood has no walls because there is no prisoner. The gate we're trying to find is gateless because there's nowhere to go. Freedom isn't something we achieve, it's something we recognize was always already present. This recognition often comes not through effort, but through a kind of relaxed attention. When we stop trying to change our experience and simply observe it, something remarkable happens. The observer and the observed begin to merge. The sense of being a separate self watching experiences gives way to a recognition that there is just experiencing itself. In these moments, the question, "Who am I?" reveals its absurdity. It's like asking, "What is the color of Wednesday?" or "How much does a thought weigh?" The question assumes categories that don't apply to the nature of consciousness. This doesn't mean we become unconscious or lose our ability to function. Quite the opposite. When the illusion of a solid self relaxes, we often discover a more fluid, responsive, and creative way of being. Actions arise spontaneously without the interference of a self-conscious controller. It's like the difference between forcing a conversation and allowing it to flow naturally. The great teacher Nisargadatta Maharaj said, "You are not what you take yourself to be. Find out what you are. Watch the sense I am without any addition to it. Stay with it, be with it, love it." This isn't about adding something to your experience. It's about subtracting the unnecessary overlay of selfhood. We began with a paradox. You can't escape yourself because you don't exist. Now we can see that this isn't really a paradox at all. It's a pointer toward the deepest truth about consciousness. The self you're trying to escape is like a mirage in the desert. From a distance, it appears completely real and substantial. But as you approach, it reveals itself to be nothing more than a play of light and perception. The closer you look, the more clearly you see there was never anything there to begin with. This recognition doesn't diminish the beauty or meaning of life. If anything, it enhances it. When the boundaries of selfhood become transparent, we discover that consciousness is not confined to the narrow channel of personal identity. We are not separate beings having experiences. We are the experiencing itself, temporary whirlpools in the vast ocean of awareness. The search for escape ends not in finding a way out, but in recognizing there was never anyone trapped in the first place. The prison door was always open because there was never a prison at all. In this recognition lies the deepest freedom. Not the freedom to escape yourself, but the freedom of realizing what you truly are. The open space of consciousness in which all experiences arise and pass away, including the experience of being a self. What you are cannot be escaped because it cannot be found. What you are is what is looking, not what is looked for. And in this looking, the seeker and the sought dissolve into the seamless activity of awareness itself. The paradox is complete. You can't escape yourself because you don't exist, and in not existing, you are finally free.